10 Golden Age stars who were actually trained, and sometimes decorated, in combat. From World War I trench raids to World War II bombing missions, these classic actors weren't merely portraying toughness, they lived it. Here are 10 actors from Hollywood's Golden Age who were bona fide warriors. Basil Rathbone, best known for his iconic portrayal of Sherlock Holmes, had a remarkable real-life military background. During World War I, he served as an intelligence officer in the British Army, specifically with the London Scottish Regiment. Rathbone was involved in dangerous daylight reconnaissance missions, where he used camouflage to gather crucial information behind enemy lines. His bravery and skill in these covert operations earned him the prestigious Military Cross in 1918, awarded for conspicuous daring. This distinguished service highlighted Rathbone's courage and discipline long before he became a celebrated actor, showing that his on-screen heroics were deeply rooted in genuine wartime experience. Humphrey Bogart served in the U.S. Navy during World War I, where he was assigned to the transport ship SS Leviathan as a helmsman. His time in the Navy exposed him to the dangers of wartime sea travel, navigating through submarine-threatened waters. During his service, Bogart sustained a facial injury that left him with a distinctive scar and contributed to the slight lisp he carried throughout his acting career. This real-life experience gave him a rugged authenticity that translated into his tough, charismatic screen presence. Bogart's military service was a defining chapter in his life, shaping both his character and career, helping to cement his status as one of Hollywood's most enduring icons. Steve McQueen enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps at the young age of 17, marking the beginning of a disciplined and challenging chapter in his life. During his service, he trained as a tank driver and mechanic, gaining hands-on experience with armored vehicles and military operations. This rigorous military training instilled in him a strong sense of discipline, resilience, and confidence, qualities that later became integral to his iconic King of Cool image. McQueen's real-life experience as a Marine gave him an authentic edge when portraying tough, rebellious characters in films like The Great Escape and Bullitt. His military background wasn't just a footnote, it shaped his approach to acting and helped him stand out in Hollywood, embodying a blend of rugged masculinity and calm intensity that captivated audiences worldwide. Kirk Douglas served honorably in the U.S. Navy during World War II as a communications officer aboard an anti-submarine warfare ship. His role involved managing critical communications during tense naval operations, often under dangerous conditions, as these vessels hunted enemy submarines threatening Allied convoys. Douglas's military experience deeply influenced his acting career, shaping his intense, commanding presence on screen. The leadership and resilience he developed during wartime translated into powerful performances in films like Spartacus and Paths of Glory. His time in the Navy gave him first-hand insight into discipline, teamwork, and courage, which added authenticity to his portrayals of complex, determined characters. Beyond his film career, Douglas remained proud of his service, exemplifying how his real-life experiences informed the depth and strength he brought to Hollywood's golden age. Sterling Hayden, known for his commanding screen presence in films like The Asphalt Jungle and Dr. Strangelove, lived a life far more daring than any of his roles. During World War II, he left behind a budding Hollywood career to serve his country. He joined the U.S. Marine Corps but soon found himself recruited by the Office of Strategic Services, OSS, the forerunner of the CIA. As an undercover agent, Hayden conducted covert operations in Nazi-occupied Yugoslavia and the Balkans, delivering supplies to resistance fighters and coordinating guerrilla missions behind enemy lines. His bravery and success in these high-risk assignments earned him the Silver Star and the Bronze Arrowhead, among other commendations. Despite later fame, Hayden often spoke more proudly of his OSS work than his acting. His real-life espionage and combat experience added a rugged authenticity to his screen persona, making him one of Hollywood's most fascinating war heroes. David Niven, the suave British actor known for his charm and wit in films like The Pink Panther and Around the World in 80 Days, was also a decorated war veteran. When World War II broke out in 1939, Niven was one of the few British actors in Hollywood to return home and rejoin the military. He served as a lieutenant colonel in the British Army and was attached to the elite commandos and later the Phantom Reconnaissance Unit. His duties included gathering intelligence on enemy positions and movements behind the front lines. Niven also participated in top-secret deception operations, most notably involving a lookalike used to impersonate General Montgomery before the D-Day invasion, confusing German intelligence. Despite his fame, Niven rarely spoke of his wartime service, once stating, "I did what I was asked to do." His courage, discretion, and leadership during the war earned him deep respect, and his real-life heroism added depth to the elegance and authority he displayed on screen throughout his storied acting career. James "Jimmy" Stewart, beloved for his roles in classics like It's a Wonderful Life and Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, was not just a Hollywood icon, he was also a highly decorated war hero. At the height of his acting career, Stewart volunteered for the U.S. Army Air Corps during World War II. Initially serving as a flight instructor, he later flew over 20 combat bombing missions over Nazi-occupied Europe as the commander of AB-24 Squadron. His leadership and bravery earned him several honors, including the Distinguished Flying Cross and the French Croix de Guerre. Stewart's service didn't end with the war. He remained active in the Air Force Reserve and eventually retired as a brigadier general, the highest-ranking actor in U.S. military history. His real-life courage and integrity mirrored the characters he portrayed on screen, making Stewart not just a star, but a true American hero both in Hollywood and on the battlefield. Charles Bronson, famed for his tough guy roles in films like The Dirty Dozen and Death Wish, was just as rugged in real life as he was on screen. During World War II, Bronson served in the U.S. Army Air Forces as an aerial gunner aboard B-29 bombers. He flew an impressive 25 combat missions over Japanese-held territory in the Pacific Theater, a highly dangerous role that exposed him to intense anti-aircraft fire and life-threatening conditions. During one of these missions, Bronson was wounded, earning him the Purple Heart for his bravery and sacrifice. His wartime experiences were marked by courage and grit, qualities that would later define his cinematic persona. Coming from a working-class background and growing up in poverty, Bronson brought real-life toughness and quiet intensity to his acting. Though he rarely spoke about his military service, it was a formative chapter of his life that deeply shaped his worldview and the stoic, no-nonsense characters he became famous for portraying in Hollywood's golden age and beyond. Lee Marvin, known for his gritty, no-nonsense roles in films like The Dirty Dozen and Point Blank, was a real-life war hero long before Hollywood cast him as one. He enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps during World War II and served with the 4th Marine Division in the Pacific Theater. Marvin fought in the brutal Battle of Saipan, one of the war's bloodiest campaigns. During intense combat, he was shot in the buttocks and lower back, with the bullet severing his sciatic nerve. His injuries were severe enough to earn him a medical discharge and the Purple Heart. Marvin later said that his wartime experience left a lasting impact on him, shaping both his worldview and his acting career. The hardened, world-weary characters he portrayed on screen weren't simply performances, they were grounded in the trauma and courage of lived experience. His authenticity resonated with audiences, and he became one of Hollywood's most iconic tough guys. Lee Marvin's legacy as both a Marine and an actor continues to stand as a powerful example of courage, resilience, and raw talent. Clark Gable, often dubbed the King of Hollywood, proved he was more than just a matinee idol when he enlisted in the U.S. Army Air Forces during World War II. Following the tragic death of his wife, actress Carole Lombard, in a wartime plane crash, Gable felt compelled to serve. At the age of 41, an age well beyond typical enlistment, he volunteered and was commissioned as a second lieutenant. He joined the 1st Motion Picture Unit, a division responsible for creating training and propaganda films, but Gable insisted on taking part in real combat. Assigned to the 351st Bomb Group, he flew 5 combat missions over Nazi-occupied Europe as a tail gunner on B-17 flying fortresses. On one mission, a 20mm shell ripped through his aircraft without detonating, an incredibly close call. Gable's missions were filmed to document the life of an aerial gunner, blending his cinematic skills with authentic service. For his courage and contribution, he was awarded the Air Medal and promoted to Major. Though he returned to acting after the war, Gable's military service added a layer of quiet heroism to his larger-than-life Hollywood persona. Audie Murphy, one of the most decorated American soldiers of World War II, turned his extraordinary real-life heroism into a successful Hollywood career. Born into poverty in Texas, Murphy enlisted in the U.S. Army at age 17 after being rejected by other branches due to his small stature. Despite his youth and size, he displayed unmatched bravery in combat. Over the course of the war, he earned every major U.S. military combat award for valor, including the Medal of Honor, which he received for single-handedly holding off an entire German company for over an hour, despite being wounded. After the war, Murphy was invited to Hollywood, where he transitioned into acting. He starred in over 40 films, many of them westerns and war dramas. His most famous role came in To Hell and Back, 1955, a film adaptation of his own autobiography, where he portrayed himself. Murphy's calm, intense on-screen presence mirrored his battlefield composure. Despite struggling with PTSD, he remained a symbol of courage and patriotism, both in uniform and on-screen, making him a true American legend. Neville Brand, best known for his tough guy roles in westerns and crime dramas, was a real-life war hero long before his Hollywood career. He served with distinction in the U.S. Army during World War II as a platoon sergeant in the 331st Infantry Regiment, 83rd Infantry Division. Brand saw intense combat in Europe and was awarded the Silver Star for gallantry in action, one of the military's highest honors for bravery. He was also wounded in battle, taking a shot to the upper arm during a firefight along the Weser River in Germany, earning him a Purple Heart. After the war, Brand brought an authentic sense of grit and toughness to his acting, shaped by his battlefield experience. Though often cast as a villain or hardened soldier, his roles resonated with realism, reflecting the courage and trauma of real combat. Brand's military service added depth to his on-screen persona, making him one of Hollywood's most convincingly rugged characters.